You weigh your food, you track every calorie in an app. You skip dessert, choose the light version, go to bed hungry, and punish yourself on the treadmill. And yet, the scale barely moves. Worse, sometimes it moves in the wrong direction. So you start asking the question nobody seems willing to answer. What am I doing wrong? And the answer may surprise you. Because for millions of people, the problem is not a lack of discipline. It is not laziness. It is not that you just need more willpower. What if the entire foundation of modern weight loss advice is missing the most important part of the story? Here is the truth that can feel uncomfortable at first, but also incredibly freeing. Your body is not a spreadsheet. It is not a simple math machine where calories in and calories out tell the whole story. Your body is a living, breathing, highly intelligent chemical laboratory. Every bite you take sends signals. Hormones change. Enzymes change. Appetite changes. Energy output changes. Fat storage changes. So when someone says, just eat less and move more, that may sound logical on paper. But biology is not paper. Biology reacts to the type of food, the timing of food, your stress level, your sleep, and the hormonal message each meal sends to your cells. And that is where so many people get trapped. They are doing everything right, according to the calorie counting rulebook, but their body is still acting like it is in danger. Hungry. Tired. Craving sugar. Thinking about food all day. Losing motivation. Feeling cold. Feeling defeated. That is not a character flaw. That is biology talking. And once you understand the language of biology, the guilt starts to lift. You stop asking, what is wrong with me, and start asking, what is my body trying to tell me? So let me say this clearly, this video is for educational purposes only. Always consult with a healthcare professional before making drastic changes to your diet, especially if you have a medical condition like diabetes or thyroid issues. That matters, because the goal here is not to frighten you. The goal is to free you from a false explanation that has kept good people blaming themselves for years. Once you stop seeing your body as a broken calculator, you can finally see it as what it really is. A responsive, adaptive system trying to survive what it perceives as a threat. Now, here is the whistleblower part. The standard, CICO, model says the body only cares about calories. But if that were the whole truth, then every 500-calorie meal would affect you the same way. And it simply does not. Your cells do not just count calories. They respond to the hormonal instructions attached to those calories. A meal can be the same on paper and completely different in the body. One meal can keep you satisfied and stable. Another can trigger hunger, cravings, energy crashes, and fat storage signals. That is why two people can eat the same number of calories and have very different experiences. The real question is not only, how much did you eat? The real question is, what did that food tell your body to do? Think about the emotional burden this creates. You are told to trust the math, yet the math keeps failing you. You are told to eat less, but your hunger gets louder. You are told to exercise more, but your body feels more exhausted. At some point, the problem is no longer your effort. The problem is the model. And when the model is incomplete, even the most disciplined person can feel like a failure. That is why so many people get stuck in the cycle of restriction, rebound, guilt, and starting over again on Monday. So in this masterclass, I want to give you a different lens. Not blame, not shame, not starvation. A biological lens. A hormonal lens. A real explanation for why some foods leave you calm, full, and steady, while others seem to turn on the part of your body that wants to store, hoard, and ask for more. Because once you understand the hormonal truth, the guilt starts to disappear. You realize you were never weak. You were just following advice that ignored the complexity of your own biology. And in the next chapter, I am going to show you exactly why 500 calories of one food can behave very differently from 500 calories of another. Let's challenge one of the most repeated phrases in nutrition. A calorie is a calorie. It sounds neat. It sounds scientific. It sounds complete. But it is only a tiny part of the story. Because a calorie is a unit of energy, yes. But food is not just energy. Food is information. Food is chemistry. Food is a signal that tells your body what to do next. And that means 500 calories of one meal can create a very different internal environment than 500 calories of another meal. Picture this. On one side, 500 calories of glazed donuts. On the other side, 500 calories of steak and eggs. On paper, they may look equal. But in your body, they are not even close to equal. The donuts are rapidly digested. Blood sugar rises quickly. Insulin rises to move that sugar out of the bloodstream. And not long after that, many people feel the crash, hunger, irritability, fog, and the urge to eat again. The steak and eggs, on the other hand, digest more slowly. They provide protein, fat, and nutrients that support fullness. The body gets a very different message. Stay satisfied, stabilize, and keep going. That is the first problem with the calorie-only mindset. It ignores the body's response to the type of food. When you eat refined carbohydrates and sugar, your blood sugar often rises faster. The pancreas responds. Insulin rises. And now the body is dealing with a very different set of instructions than it would after a protein-rich meal. You are not just filling a tank. You are activating pathways that influence hunger, storage, and energy availability. That is why 2 meals with the same calorie count can leave you in completely different states an hour later. This is where so many people feel betrayed by their own hunger. They eat a low-calorie breakfast that looks good in an app, but it does not hold them. They are starving by 10:30. They snack. They crave sugar. They feel like they have no control. But the real issue is not moral weakness. It is not poor character. It is not a broken personality. It is that the meal did not send the right satiety signals. It did not provide enough protein, enough healthy fat, enough micronutrients, or enough staying power for the biology of hunger to settle down. Now compare that to a more nutrient-dense meal. A meal with quality protein and real food tends to stimulate fullness signals differently. Hormones involved in satiety can rise. The stomach stays satisfied longer. The brain receives a more stable message that food is available, so there is less urgency to keep searching for the next bite. That is why some meals feel like they disappear in 20 minutes, while others carry you for hours. The difference is not just calories, it is the biological conversation between food and body. And this is also why obsessive calorie restriction often backfires. When people only reduce calories, but keep eating foods that are highly processed and quick to digest, they often create a perfect storm. Less food, but not better food. Less fuel, but more hunger. Less satisfaction, but more cravings. So the body does what bodies are designed to do. It protects you. It pushes back. It amplifies hunger. It nudges you toward food that is easy to access and quick to burn. Again, that is not failure. That is physiology. This is the part most people never hear. The body does not simply care about how much energy enters. It also cares about how quickly that energy arrives, how long it stays with you, and what hormonal environment it creates. A highly processed meal may be easy to overeat because it is fast, tasty, and not very filling. A whole food meal may be more satisfying because it slows digestion, steadies blood sugar, and supports a calmer appetite. Same number on the label. Very different message inside the body. So when someone says, just eat less, they are only describing one layer of the picture. They are not telling you why one meal leaves you satisfied and another leaves you raiding the kitchen 2 hours later. The real question is not whether calories exist. Of course they do. The real question is what those calories do in your body. Do they calm hunger? Do they spike cravings? Do they support stable energy? Or do they push your body into a pattern of storage and urgency? And in the next chapter, I am going to show you the hormone that sits at the center of this entire story, insulin. Now we have to talk about the hormone at the center of this entire conversation, insulin. If calories are the fuel, insulin is one of the main traffic controllers deciding where that fuel goes. After you eat, especially after a meal rich in refined carbohydrates or sugar. Insulin rises to help move nutrients out of the bloodstream and into storage or use. That is not a bad thing. Insulin is essential. It keeps us alive. It helps manage blood sugar with incredible precision. But when insulin is chronically elevated, the body can get stuck in a very different pattern than the one most people expect. Here is the simplest way to understand it. Insulin is part of the body's storage system. When insulin is high, the body is more likely to store energy. When insulin is lower, the body is more able to access stored energy. That is why so many people feel like they are doing everything right, yet their body seems unwilling to let go of fat. They are not simply dealing with calories. They are dealing with a hormonal environment that may be telling the body to hold on. And that is why fat loss is not just about eating less. It is about changing the signals that tell the body whether to store or access energy. Think of it like a locked pantry. When insulin is high all the time, your body is spending more time in storage mode. That means it is easier to use the food coming in, but harder to access the reserves already sitting in your body. So even if you have body fat available, the hormonal message can make it feel like you are never truly using it efficiently. This is one reason chronic snacking, constant grazing, sugary drinks, and ultra-processed carbs can be so frustrating. They keep sending repeated, store and protect, signals. Now, people often hear the phrase, insulin is the fat storage hormone, and they take it to an extreme. So let's be precise. Insulin is not the enemy. It is a necessary hormone. The problem is not insulin existing. The problem is insulin being pushed too high, too often, for too long. That pattern can happen when meals are dominated by refined carbohydrates, sugary foods, and low satiety eating. Over time, some people become more metabolically inflexible, meaning the body is less efficient at switching between burning incoming fuel and burning stored fuel. That is when weight loss starts to feel like pushing a car uphill with the parking brake on. And this is where many people misread their own experience. They think, I'm eating less, so why am I not losing? Because if the body senses scarcity, stress, and instability, it may respond by conserving. It may reduce spontaneous movement. It may lower energy output. It may increase food focus. It may make you feel colder, more tired, and more preoccupied with eating. Again, this is not a personal failure. This is what a smart survival system does when it thinks resources are uncertain. And yes, this is where people often describe what they call starvation mode. I want to be careful with that phrase, because it is often overused online. But the underlying idea is real. When energy intake is too low for too long, or when dieting is paired with chronic stress and poor food quality, the body can adapt in ways that make progress harder. Hunger can rise. Energy can drop. Adherence can collapse. And the person feels like they are fighting their own body every day. So the issue is not simply that they failed the diet. The issue is that the diet may have been asking the body to cooperate with a signal it could not sustain. Now here is the key insight. If you keep the insulin signal quiet enough, and you keep the food nutritionally rich enough, the body often becomes more willing to tap into stored energy. That is why a steady, well-formulated, nutrient-dense eating pattern can feel so different from a low-calorie, high-craving one. People often think they need more punishment, more restriction, more cardio, but what they really need is a better signal. A signal that says, there is enough nourishment here, and you do not need to panic. That is the power of understanding insulin. It helps explain why some people can be stuck for years on the calorie-counting hamster wheel and still feel trapped in cravings, fatigue, and weight regain. Once you understand the hormonal switch, the whole conversation changes. You stop asking, how do I force my body to submit, and start asking, how do I help my body feel safe enough to release stored fat? And in the next chapter, I am going to show you the practical path forward. How to stop starving yourself and start supporting metabolic healing. So what is the answer if calorie counting alone is not enough? It is not starvation. It is not punishment. It is not eating as little as possible and hoping your body cooperates. The more sustainable answer is metabolic healing. That means creating the kind of internal environment where your body feels nourished, stable, and safe enough to release stored energy naturally. In practical terms, that means we stop chasing only a caloric deficit, and we start focusing on nutrient density, satiety, and hormonal balance. Because here is the truth. The body does not just need fewer calories. It needs the right signals. When meals are built around real protein, healthy fats, and fibrous whole foods, people often notice something powerful. Fewer cravings, steadier energy, better focus, and less emotional chaos around food. That is what healing looks like at the metabolic level. Not perfection. Not restriction. Not white-knuckling your way through the day. It looks like calm hunger. Predictable meals. Better satisfaction. Less noise. More trust in your body again. This is why many people do better when they move away from the constant blood sugar roller coaster. They are not trying to win with willpower anymore. They are designing their meals so the body does not have to fight for survival after every bite. When food is deeply satiating, the mind gets quieter. When insulin is calmer, the body becomes more willing to access stored energy. When nourishment improves, the urge to binge often starts to fade. That is not magic. That is physiology working in your favor. And this is where a structured plan can help, because most people are not failing from lack of information. They are failing from overload. They do not need another random tip from the internet. They need a simple roadmap. That is the role of a personalized nutrition blueprint. To remove confusion and replace it with clarity. Which foods help you feel full? Which meals keep your energy stable? Which macronutrient balance supports your goals without leaving you miserable? That is how you make change sustainable. And I want to pause here and say something important. Always consult your doctor before changing your diet, especially if you have diabetes, thyroid issues, take medication, or have any medical condition that could affect how your body responds to carbohydrate changes. That is not a disclaimer to scare you. It is a reminder to be wise. Healing should be thoughtful. It should be safe. It should be individualized. The goal is not to copy someone else's food rules. The goal is to understand your body and work with it, not against it. This is also where a well-designed approach like the custom keto diet can be useful for some people as a practical starting framework. The idea is simple. Build meals around high-quality protein, healthy fats, and low-carb, nutrient-dense foods so your body experiences more satiety and less hormonal turbulence. Used appropriately, that kind of structure can help people break the cycle of constant hunger and regain a sense of control around food. It is not about deprivation. It is about giving the body a more stable fuel environment and a clearer path forward. So the big takeaway is this. Stop asking your body to cooperate with a plan that keeps it hungry, stressed, and confused. Feed it better signals. Build meals that satisfy. Focus on healing the hormonal environment, not just shrinking the calorie number. When you do that, fat loss stops feeling like punishment and starts looking like physiology finally working with you. Let this be the sentence you remember. Stop fighting your biology with a calculator. For too long, people have been taught to believe that if they are not losing weight, they must be failing at discipline. But now you know the truth is more nuanced than that. Your body is not a machine that only counts numbers. It is a living system that responds to hormones, food quality, stress, sleep, and satiety. So if you have felt trapped in the cycle of dieting, hunger, and self-blame, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not weak. You have been trying to solve a hormonal problem with a math-only solution. The path forward is not more punishment. It is not more fear. It is not forcing yourself to live on tiny meals and endless cardio while your body begs for relief. The path forward is metabolic healing. That means choosing foods that create stability instead of chaos. It means building meals that are nutrient-dense, deeply satisfying, and supportive of healthy hormones. It means giving your body the conditions it needs to stop panicking and start cooperating. When that happens, something powerful changes. Food stops controlling your thoughts, and your body stops feeling like an enemy. And that is why a structured, personalized framework can matter. Some people need a clear blueprint to reduce confusion and make better food choices consistently. That is where the custom keto diet can serve as a practical roadmap for those who want a more satiating, lower-carb, nutrient-focused approach. The value is not in extreme rules. The value is in structure that supports your real life. Real meals. Real satiety. Real consistency. The kind of plan that helps people feel steady instead of starving. But remember, no plan is one size fits all. Your history, medications, thyroid function, insulin sensitivity, activity level, sleep, stress, and medical conditions all matter. That is why the goal is always the same. Make decisions that support your body, not punish it. Progress should not require misery, and sustainable fat loss should not require you to hate your life. So here is the final truth. Heal the hormones, nourish the body, and let fat loss become a byproduct of better biology. And before making any significant changes to your diet, always consult with a healthcare professional, especially if you have diabetes, thyroid issues, take medication, or have any medical condition that could affect your response to dietary changes. Thank you for being here. And if this message helped you, the next step is to explore the personalized hormonal nutrition blueprint linked in the description.